In this video, we're going to be talking about why riding a motorcycle is safer than a car, allegedly. First thing that we're going to talk about, when you're riding a motorcycle, you have heightened visual awareness about what's going on around you. You know what the air temperature is, you know what cars to your left, to your right. You also can see what's in front of you at all times. The reason you have to have heightened visual awareness while riding a motorcycle is because you have to know what's going on around you at all times. For instance, you're pulling up on an intersection and you're really not looking at where you're going, what's on your left or your right, what's at the intersection, if it's a yellow light, if it's a red light, if it's a green light. If the cars that are turning right have the right of way to turn right on red, you will have to know at all times what's going on around you. And that means if you're pulling up on an intersection, you need to know what's at the intersection, what's around the intersection, if there's any blind spots, so that way you aren't flying down the road past an intersection down the main street and a car just pulls out in front of you. Another thing to understand is when you're riding a motorcycle, you tend to know what's around you at all times. So when you're driving through traffic, you tend to have a better visibility of traffic that's around you. For instance, when you're in a car, you're more likely to be messing with the radio, the AC, adjusting your seat. A lot of people are even on their phones. When you're on a motorcycle, you're aware of what's going on in your 180-degree peripheral vision because you just have to at all times. You can hear a lot better what's on your left and your right versus in a car where the windows are closed and you can't really hear what's going on. Another thing to know, in states where it's illegal, you can lane filter. So when you're lane filtering, when you're coming up to a stoplight and there's cars maybe not paying attention behind you, you can split right in between those cars. That way now you're at the front of the pack of the cars, so say there's 7, 8, 9 vehicles behind you. If those cars now get rear-ended, you are not going to be punished for those people being idiots. Another thing to know, when you're on a motorcycle, you are very agile. So say I'm driving right towards this right here, I can quickly get out of the way. Or when you're driving towards a pothole or anything like that, I'll kind of give some examples for when I get on the road here. Have a good night, brother. So as I was talking about, you're very agile. It's almost like you're fighting on your toes when you're riding a motorcycle. In a car, your car is so wide that you really can't do anything when you come across the pothole without moving lanes. So I have all of this lane to work with, and this isn't even like a main road. You can see I have all of this lane to work with. And so when you're coming up on a pothole or a hazard in the road, you're able to swerve out of the way very quickly. And that goes back to the topic that I just talked about. You have to know your surroundings at all times when you're riding a motorcycle. Another thing on a bike, you can speed up and slow down very quickly. So I could have slowed down a lot faster than that. I just didn't want to skid my tire because I'm trying to record. But you are able to get out of traffic and also slow down with traffic very quickly because of the power to weight ratio. You know, if there's a pothole right here on the road, all I really need to do is just swerve out of the way. I'm very agile right now. Almost feels like I'm cutting through the air. So obviously I can take my time to slow down if I wanted to. All I gotta do is just downshift a couple times and use my brakes properly, and I am able to slow down to an appropriate speed where I'm not gonna go through the tailgate of this guy's truck. Can you guys see how big those clouds are over there? That's amazing. I lost count, but another reason why motorcycles are safer, modern riding gear. So for instance, I'm wearing a mesh jacket right now. It'd be best if I was wearing leather, but I'm wearing a mesh jacket right now that has foam pads in the elbows, forearms, shoulders, and back. I'm also wearing a DOD rated helmet and a track rated helmet. I believe it's ECP. I'll put a picture up of it so you guys know what I'm talking about it. But it's rated for the road and street and race. That didn't really make sense, but you guys get what I mean. Dude, look at that cloud. That is insane. That doesn't even look real. Oh my goodness, those clouds are huge over there. It almost looks like an explosion in water. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like that. Hi, puppy. Gotta always say hi to the puppies. Park it right here. Another reason why motorcycles are safer is because of the modern technology that's in them. ABS, anti-brake system. So some of the new bikes have the LED systems, and some new bikes now have stability control on them. I didn't even know that was a thing, but after doing some research, I'm now seeing that a lot of bikes have this feature. Another key point I'm going to hit on, and why a lot of bike riding now, where you can be safe on the bike, is you have to ride like you're invisible. I have to ride like someone doesn't see me. Now this is kind of a bad example because the sun's starting to go down, less people are riding, but I'll kind of point out some key things here. So say I'm pulling up on this guy right now, right? And we're about to go through this roundabout. And I'm about to enter this roundabout, and there's a car parked right there, and he pulls out right after that truck pulls out. Well, now I just smacked face first into a sedan. I'm an idiot. That's my fault. But you can be very safe as long as you adapt the mindset of riding like you're invisible. Some people out here, they don't. They get tunnel vision because they're driving too fast and they're really just trying not to die, or they lock in on one target. For instance, like say I start paying attention to the sign, I'm not paying attention, and a car comes out and smokes me, you know, that's 100% my fault. Man, look at that beautiful sunset. We are about to change cameras really quickly. Be careful on this gravel. Another thing I wanted to touch on is you have a greater connection with the environments going on. And what I mean by that is you can physically feel the weather changing around you. You know, if it's getting really humid all of a sudden, you know it's about to rain. If it's starting to rain, you know to book at home. If it's getting super windy and there's really like a lot of dark clouds, you know, you can actually feel that. So as long as you can start to sense what's going on around you, motorcycles become a lot more safer. You know, you can hear cars. Wow, look at that sunset, guys. Wow. Can I stop here? We have to stop here. This is gonna be a sick ass picture. Oh guys, we have to do this quick. Sorry, hold on. We have to get some shots of this. Wow, what an insane shot. So like I was saying, you have more of a connection with the environment, the traffic behavior, the weather changing. Well, now we have to try to push the bike out of here, dude. Come on. Oh, come on, bike. Another key point to note on is you start to have a greater respect for speed. And the moment you start to understand speed and start to have that working relationship with it, the more fun getting into riding motorcycles can be. Because when you go 60 miles an hour in a car, it doesn't feel like anything. You see Hannah over there texting and driving on the interstate at 75 miles an hour, but when you're on a motorcycle, you are locked in, dude. There is no fucking around at all. It's insane. So at the end of the day, when you are riding a motorcycle and you are either commuting to work, when you're commuting to work, it's also a lot faster. You know the ways to take that will get you through traffic faster, to filter through traffic, because you can speed up and slow down quicker. So you can kind of drive at a little more of an aggressive speed, but only ride to your limits. So at the end of the day, I want to hear in the comments on why you guys would think having a motorcycle is safer now than, you know, even possibly driving a car. Most of the time, it's not the person who crashes the motorcycle, it's the idiots on the road that don't see you, and that's why you have to drive like you're invisible. Because if you don't, you'll get flattened out. You know, you might be going too fast. A lot of times speed is a factor. You can go 180 miles an hour on a motorcycle, if you can control and tame that beast. And also do it in a safe environment. Go to the track. Do it on an empty highway for all I care. Just don't be driving through rural and downtown areas at Mach Jesus and then get flattened out and then I'm at your closed casket funeral, because I'm tired of doing that shit. That was kind of a little rant. I know that kind of seems like goes the opposite of what this video can be, but like motorcycles can really be safer. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is just have good riding etiquette. Don't be riding in a group doing wheelies when it's your first time doing wheelies. Don't be passing people when you're not comfortable at high speed, because you might have a quick corner coming up on the highway and you might be cornering left, but you can't lean as far, so now your bike is straying off to the right and you just completely sideswipe a guy that's in a full lean on the highway. Or even if you're just riding cruisers like me, you know, I'm going to get a sport bike here soon, but I've been able to learn good riding etiquette when riding with other sport bikes, other cruisers, your friends, people you don't know. The motorcycle community is supposed to be something that you can just pull up to a guy at a stoplight and just ride with him for the next 10 miles, and you know that you're not going to get sideswiped by him. So I just want to end off this video on why motorcycles are safer if you're not an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Look out for people. Pretend like you're invisible. Have fun. Don't do anything stupid. And at the end of the day, you only have one life. Why not pick up the keys, spend the money that you're not supposed to be spending, and just buy a motorcycle? I don't care if it's a cruiser. I don't care if it's an e-bike. I don't care if it's a 1000cc S1K. You only live in this world once. There's nothing closer to riding motorcycles. But I just want to end off on that. Everybody have a good night. Peace out, pimps.